Double nut! Double nut! Double nut! Woo! And that's a California king salmon.
It's 4:30 a.m. in San Francisco, and the docks are coming alive with boats getting ready to head out in search of one thing: king salmon. We're riding along with Jacob Emmerling, owner of Dead Mount Waterfowl and a lifelong fisherman and hunter. To get to the fishing area, we headed out before sunrise through San Francisco Bay and under the Golden Gate Bridge into the Pacific Ocean.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell you about these Yakimas that I found out. Did you know that these things are made for left-handed spins and right-handed spins? There's different ones.
Are you serious?
I swear, dude. But these ones are not. They're universal. I found that out the other day. I'd say that middle bright one, actually, he's probably going closer to the beach. That middle light's going straight through Point Pedro.
The morning was blanketed in a thick fog, and the swells were significant on the way out. The U Nation is made possible by our sponsors: Yeti, Winchester Ammo, Drake Waterfowl Systems, Mossy Oak, and Winchester Repeating Arms. We believe in their products, and we appreciate it when you support the companies that support conservation. Once we were around where we believed the fish are, we watched the horizon for birds hitting the surface and for schools of fish. Then we trolled our bait on the edges of these schools to catch the salmon that are hunting from underneath.
We got our weight release here. And then make sure that's spinning. And that's the ticket right there. And what's crazy is that everybody out here fishing for these things uses these weight releases. So when you hook up on a fish, it pops that 2-pound lead ball off and it actually sinks to the bottom, and then you fight your fish and you lose your weight. So fishing for these things can be a little expensive if you aren't landing all your fish. They're at what?
See that right here? There's fish at 40 feet. Saw bait right here. We're marking some fish at 40 feet, 50 feet, 60 feet.
We got bit on this one. Remember when I said it was bait?
Yeah.
Look.
Oh yeah, we got bit, yeah.
He left me just ahead. How it's always worked for years on out, from my understanding, is that they've always let the salmon smolt go, you know, way up in the rivers, you know, like way up in the Sac, like Yuba City or Redding or just near the hatcheries, wherever these fish come and spawn. Well, I mean, when you let 10,000 smolts go in the heart of October up in Redding, they don't make it maybe a couple miles past that hatchery till every striper in that river system just devours them. Because I mean, when we go do the fall run stripers up there and we're cleaning our 20, 25 inch stripers, it's just salmon smolt after salmon smolt after salmon smolt. Every single fish is just loaded with it, you know. Recently they started planting these salmon, I think it was either last year or maybe the year before, they started planting the salmon smolts actually right outside next to the Golden Gate in South Salito. And they were doing it sometimes in the middle of the night, from my understanding. So that way those salmon had a direct path to come straight out to the ocean without anything really affecting them. And ever since they started doing that, man, I mean, it seems like the fishery's been a lot more consistent out in the ocean. You also get the downside of these are kind of somewhat different fish. They're not the fish that everybody's acclimated or has been used to, so their pattern is somewhat different. It's the time of the year and the factors are changing. Everything's changing out here all the time. This water system, this river system's changing so much, man, by the day. And there's guys that have been doing this their entire lives that have to relearn everything all over again because what they've learned for 30 years, they've taken away with the water in a matter of less than a decade, you know? So it's just hard, man, to really say what's gonna happen.
It's like now we're fishing end of August and we're fishing down south. Typically we'd be fishing north right now, so I guess to his point, those fish are unpredictable.
Nice. Oh yeah. Woo! It's a big one.
Okay. It'll turn into it.
Oh, he just popped.
It's against regulation to use barbed hooks for king salmon, so it's very easy to lose a fish. As soon as one is on, you have to get it in the boat as quickly as possible.
Fish on, fish on.
Oh yeah, I can. I'm in the Pacific Ocean fishing right now. Okay, let me net this salmon, I'll call you right back. I gotta net
Right
it.
here, right here, right here. Hold on. Ready?
Yep.
It's all good.
There he is, ready?
Hold on. Nice. In the box, baby. Hell yeah, brother. Good job.
No.
No flasher or nothing. Look how he ate that thing. Think he hit that?
Yeah, he swallowed that. Or he hammered it, it got him good.
And that's a California king salmon. About a 10, 12 pounder, huh?
Yeah?
Nice. Bleeding him in the live well?
Yeah, this turns out. Here, let me see. Put that,
Okay. I just bled him. I'm bleeding them out now. So basically, these fish, as soon as you catch them, you want to pop their gills, get all the blood out of their system, and then we'll gut the fish here. And after it's done bleeding out in the next couple minutes. Oh, told you. Here.
Oh, fish.
Doubled up!
Fish.
Doubled up! Doubled up! Just leave it. I'm gonna kick us in neutral.
go ahead.
Told you it was only a matter of
Yeah,
time.
give me some, Don.
So what we got, baby.
Ready?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Woo!
You got this, I'm gonna get the fucking one.
Hey, call Big Joe. Big rod. Both are straight big rods. Oh no, we got bit on a bullet rotator too. Beauty. On the south side today, we're what we would call right in front of Pacifica. You know, when you're coming out the gate, you either want to you either got three choices. You're either going west, you're gonna go north, or you're gonna go south. You know, and every day is a little different. We kind of play our cards by that morning because the weather changes so bad out here. You know, one day you can go north and get them, but the next day the weather may not allow you to do that. You know, so you always got to have a plan B. And it's a big open ocean. It's not like you kind of have a set spot, you know where you're going right off the bat. You kind of just head in a direction and look for the life, you know, is what we call it. Pelicans, birds, bait, whales, just signs of life, you know. It's an open ocean. It's a lot of water to cover. These animals see it from a bird's eye view. They see stuff that we don't see anywhere near under the water. So, I mean, when they're waking up and flying out, usually I'm right behind them on their tail trying to figure out where they're going because they're going where we want to go.
Obviously we network with other groups and kind of get intel beforehand, and like Anthony said, the weather plays a big part of it. Water temperature, water color. Typically the salmon like the dirtier brown water. We're fish anywhere from 45 feet to 300 feet. Right now these fish ranging from 50 to 75, 80 feet. The boat usually tracks, like right now we're trolling at 3 miles an hour. So we troll between 3, 4, 5 mile an hour, depending on how the weather is, and if you're going into it, going into the swell, going down swell, into the wind, downwind.
What kind of boat you have.
What kind of boat you have, what kind of motor you have. So
There's a lot of factors.
basically you just have to adjust to how you get bit, when you get bit, and do your homework. And I was going down swell, I got bit, so I'm gonna go back up, loop back around, or jog into it, and then work that same area and try to create that same tempo to keep the fish biting in that same rhythm.
Using these flashers here, basically you just run about a 6-foot leader off these. I just do about an arm length, you know, anywhere from 30 to 40 pound mono. I like to run a little heavier line because I don't tend to find these fish line shy, you know, and they're really mean, man. These are king salmon for a reason, and they don't give up without a fight. And when you're catching a lot of fish, or you got a lot of baits that are all twisting together, everything tangles and it's all bad. So the thicker the line, the better chance of, or the less chance of you having to retie your leaders. And then basically you can, there's a range of different baits. I'm sure there's a lure and a color for every type of pattern that you want to try to follow.
Yeah.
I mean, the main patterns we basically go for out here is red and green. So the red basically makes it look like krill, and these fish come and get attracted to it, and then they see that anchovy dangling behind it, and they strike that bait. The chartreuse I really like using down in that deeper water in the early season when we're in 200-300 feet of water. You know, the fish seem to see the color green the best in that deep dark water. You know, when you got to get down a couple hundred feet, and then it seems like when you're down in that deep water, man, those deep rods kind of get the fish going first, and then as those other fish see those fish above them twirling, and they think they're, you know, on a feeding frenzy, so it brings the school up, and then your shallow rods start getting bit. You know, that's how you kind of can cover the water column when those fish are down deep, man. They're down deep digging in that cold water. They want to eat that krill, that plankton living down on the bottom, you know. But right now these fish are staging, they're coming up river to spawn, so we're catching them on their way up the river to do their thing. So we're up in the shallows right now.